This is going to be good. Now, Darrell, next up, you're up. There you
Yay. All right, y'all. So here we go. Here's the deal. So I had to do a lot of thinking on this to an extent on how I wanted this to go. Now, obviously, you see the man at the top, Mr. Mike McDonald, Ravens defensive coordinator, and a lot of people are going to scream at me and say, Darrell, wait a minute. This team needs offense. This team needs everything. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But when you got the worst defense in the NFL, how do you go about fixing that? Why don't you go and snag the young man, 36 years old, a talented defensive mind? He's got the Ravens playing lights out right now. We saw what they did to the Dolphins last week. It's a little bit tough. I got the Dolphins offensive coordinator on here, but he's done well. And what I like about McDonald is I think that he could really find a way to bring out if they decide to keep some of the players. I think he can bring out some of the dog in some of those players. If not, I think he'll be able to find the pieces that he needs to be able to bring and bring this Commanders team back to where they need to be. Now, little tidbit about Mike McDonald. That I know it's a little bit wild, but I during the training camp I had a chance to meet a young lady who happens to be his wife and is a former Commanders cheerleader. I had no clue, and she was like, "I'm married to that man right over there," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So it brings a little bit of that in there, but that's just a little fun fact. Now, but Mike McDonald's my favorite in these choices. I think if you're gonna follow the Ravens, if you want to build around it and be a part of what they have brought, through in the NFL the last couple of years, I think that's the way to go. He's young and he fits the mold of coaches that we've seen in the NFL over the last 5 years. Next, Frank Smith, offensive coordinator for the Dolphins. Now, this pick is because if you want to go fix your offense, well, guess what? The Dolphins offense has proven this year that they can score, flat out score. Just absolutely score at times. Now, rough week last week, but wouldn't you want a guy who is kind of would be a little bit under that Shanahan tree, a little bit under that McVay tree, because they kind of mixed together there. I think Frank Smith would be a great offensive mind to kind of bring to the Commanders, and maybe if they decide to keep Sam, maybe they can fix what they have going on there. The next one, the hot candidate, the one that I think everybody's going to be drooling over in the offseason, that's Ben Johnson. Now, Ben Johnson, I heard, is asking for $15 million. Now, I don't know if that's something that he's doing because the Carolina Panthers seem to be the team that wants him the most, and he wants to protect himself by asking for $15 million. I don't know. But he feels like that he's that hot of a commodity, which he is, and he will be probably, if not one of the top three coaching candidates out there. So just in general, we've seen what he's done in Detroit. Detroit has done an amazing job offensively this year, and I think that he will be a really good candidate, or at least to get an interview for Washington. Now, here's the one that I know a lot of people, and I see some comments, but here's one, and that's Eric Bieniemy. We all know that Bieniemy was brought here to try to enhance his opportunity to be a head coach. Now, has he done enough this year to maybe be seen as a head coach for this team? I don't know. Obviously, we heard a lot of stuff come out about the team, and we heard players, rumors that players didn't like him and all that stuff. So I think that makes it hard for him. But I do think the organization will at least give him an opportunity to be interviewed. And I'm hoping that it's not because of the Rooney Rule or anything like that, that I think he does at least deserve the opportunity to at least get interviewed for that position. So those are my choices right there: McDonald, Smith, Johnson, and Bieniemy. I know there's some others out there that are really recognizable, but for me, I got a feeling that Mike McDonald is going to be the guy. 36 years old, young mind. That's the trend in the NFL right now, and that's what I think they need. They need a young guy who can understand today's game. I think that's your choice.
Listen, I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it. And now, going back to the point of Coach Bieniemy, and this is something that Darrell and I talked over a bit as well, and that is we think it's only fair to give him an opportunity to interview for the role. It is, you're dealing with a roster that you didn't choose, and you came in to help change a culture, and this year just wasn't it for whatever reason, right? Which might be surprising to so many. I mean, we already saw the comments in the chat about the Pro Bowl. The team went from 4 Pro Bowlers last year and 2 alternates to 0 Pro Bowlers this year. Tress Wade didn't even get in. this year. And so that is a testament to the change in the shift just in a year of what could have happened to this team. And despite that, Coach Bieniemy, he's come in. He is the assistant head coach. We do think it's fair that he at least gets an opportunity to interview for the job. And
Yeah.
he does come from Kansas City pedigree. Now, let's just go ahead and be
Yeah.
fair about that as well.
I agree with you 100%. I think the other key element with this, with Coach Bieniemy, is that we know his style is a lot different than Ron's. And I think they tried their best to coexist to an extent this year under the different styles. Look at Kansas City, for example. I mean, that team, yes, they're still Kansas City Chiefs, but they're not the same Kansas City Chiefs since Eric Bieniemy's left. Yes, they won 10 games. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make some noise in the playoffs, or they should make some noise in the playoffs. They're not the same team. That discipline on the offense doesn't look the same as it did when Bieniemy was there. Now you come and you look at it on this end. I think the clash of styles between Rivera and Bieniemy is maybe the problem at hand. And who knows? Let's say Bieniemy gets his job, he gets to bring in players that fit more of his style. Could be a whole different dream. So I think that it's an important element to at least give him an opportunity to interview for this job. And if they feel comfortable enough to make that leap, we'll see.
If you are just tuning in, you are watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I'm your host, C. Wall. I am joined here with my Bowie TV colleague, Darrell Owens. We've talked about Wizards and trade rumors. We've now just gone through our list of potential general managers and head coaches for the Washington Commanders. Definitely drop in the chat what you think about the list. Next up, Dallas Cowboys, last game of the regular season. The game has been changed to 425, and we're like, wow,
Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that.
out of there.
I
And
like
so
not
get
a
us
fan
out
of
of
that.
there. Locker clean out
It's gonna be cold.
day is slated for Monday. It is gonna be
It's
cold.
gonna be cold, man.
Yeah, make sure. Yeah, we talk about that in a minute.
Pray for me, y'all. Pray for me.
Pray for you. Yeah, it is gonna be cold. And locker clean out slated for Monday morning. It's already a different feel. It's already a different feel. Last year, yes, the Commanders just missed the playoffs. We know that the Commanders ended up beating Dallas last game of the season. The chances of that happening this year, that's not gonna happen. So the overall mood, and depending on what really happens in terms of a Black Monday timing of announcements, when things happen, we really don't know what to expect.
Nope.
After the game on Sunday night, we don't know what to expect when we're there on Monday. So I don't know. We don't see. We
Yeah.
gonna see though.
Yeah, we're gonna wait patiently and figure it out and kind of go from there.